I lived in LA for over 6 years, and so many people make a ton of mistakes when visiting here. So I'm going to show you how to travel here without feeling overwhelmed and how to avoid the tourist traps that most people fall for. So we're going to cover a lot. I'm going to talk about some common mistakes that people make, areas of town that you should actually base yourself in, some food wrecks, and of course, underrated and overrated spots. But first thing that sometimes catches people off guard is don't always expect it to be sunny here. And I know that sounds weird, but the area of town that you're hanging out in will really impact the weather that you get. If you're in the valley, expect things to be much, much warmer. But if you're on the west side, expect maybe a marine layer, expect some of that heavier June gloom. Yes, that's really a thing. It's gloomy in June a lot of the times here, and it can often be hot in the valley and kind of chilly on the west side. So recognize the difference and do your research ahead of time so you have realistic expectations of what you need to pack. Next mistake is if you're going to go to the beach, don't forget to check the marine layer report. There's something called the marine layer, which basically think of it as just a thick layer of fog that hangs out over the beach. And it's not going to happen every day, but when it does, it will make the beach really cold. And oftentimes it just burns off by the afternoon. So just check the weather and figure out when is the marine layer actually going to disappear so you don't show up and just have a cloudy day at the beach. Also, another painful mistake that I've made many times is you get to the beach on that sunny day and you say, yes, I am ready for my feet to be in the sand, kick off the shoes, and oh my gosh, the sand is burning you. Just recognize the beaches are on another level here. There's a ton of sand. You'll be walking forever before you get to that spot where you're going to set up camp. Another really big mistake I see people make at the beach is they see all the people riding bikes and riding scooters on the beautiful pathway, and it's gorgeous. You definitely should do that, but recognize that there's a walking path and there's a path for the vehicles, and do not walk where the vehicles are. It's easy to cause a wreck. And if you are on a vehicle like a bike or a scooter, recognize that the sand ends up brushing up onto the pavement and it gets really, really slick. So oftentimes people are just flying in way too fast and they go to turn a corner and they lose control and they wipe out. We've seen some bad accidents, so just be careful there. Next thing to note is that there is public transit here in Los Angeles, but I'd be lying to you if I said it's very good. It's not very well connected, and if it's your first time in LA, you can probably avoid it. It's just not the system that I'd rely on, but it is there if you're looking for that ultra budget option. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, does that mean I should rent a car? I have mixed opinions on this. Yes, you can, and obviously having a car is going to give you maximum flexibility. And if you do want to do that, I'll leave a link below of the cheap place that I rent from when I do rent cars. But I'd advise most of my friends not to rent a car just because, one, it is expensive. Two, you're going to spend way more time in the car than you probably would hope to. Parking gets expensive. The freeways here in the streets are a little bit harder to navigate for folks. So it's just a big hassle, and I really would try to avoid it if at all possible. And later I'm going to get to some spots and areas of town that you can actually stay in and totally get by without having a car. So I wouldn't rent a car, but hey, that's a you call. So if you decide not to go with the car, just recognize Uber and Lyft, they are everywhere, and Waymo is really picking up steam. That's the robot cars, and it is an experience in and of itself. Truly, there's no driver. You just get in, you use an app just like Uber, and yeah, it is an experience, especially the first time you do it. So that can actually just be a fun little experience for you on your vacation. Now, another huge mistake that pretty much every tourist makes is they just try to overdo it. They don't recognize just how big LA actually is, and they say, hey, I want to go and see Disneyland, and I want to go to the beach, and I want to go to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I want to go see this and that. And you can try, but you're probably going to fail, and you're probably going to spend so much of your vacation in the car. So don't try to overdo it. Instead, ask yourself, hey, what type of LA experience do I want to have? And then plan your trip accordingly. So I'm going to help you get there in just a minute. But one of the best ways that you can actually keep expectations in line is don't ever measure by distance, measure by time it's going to take to get somewhere. So just use Google Maps or Waze, because something like the Hollywood Walk of Fame to the Santa Monica Pier on the map, it's like, hey, that's like 10, 15 miles away. That's not bad at all. Well, that can easily end up being over an hour journey. So do yourself that favor and start measuring in time, not distance, and you'll be ahead of the game. But let's talk about some of those areas that you might want to hang out in. I'm going to try to simplify things for you when it comes to the areas of where you want to hang out. Note that I am trying to simplify based on what I think your expectation is, or at least what my expectation of LA was before actually living here. Again, this place is huge. There's something for everybody, and you can have drastically different experiences everywhere. But if you're wanting that beach town, like SoCal vibe that social media makes you think LA is, This is the area that you're actually going to want to hang, which is West Side. I think most tourists are going to be most satisfied and just have their expectations met if they stay in either Santa Monica or Venice. I'm going to kind of break down why. First is that you're close to the beach, which is likely a huge attraction for you. And also, it's really close to LAX, which is the big airport here. And most importantly, this whole area is actually walkable, and most people just don't realize that. Santa Monica is going to have the most tourism infrastructure. It's a little bit more polished. You have the Santa Monica Pier, you have the boulevard, like you have tons of shopping, and it'll be a comfortable spot to hang out. It's not my top option. My top option is Venice, and Venice and Santa Monica are right next to each other. Now, I do want to warn you, Venice is definitely gritty compared to Santa Monica. It's not as polished. It doesn't have as much of that tourism infrastructure, but because of that, you get a little bit more of like a local vibe, and the local vibes here have changed a ton over the years. It's really artsy, very creative now. It's turning into kind of this posh, really interesting place, and you're close enough to some of the other things that we'll get to in the overrated or underrated section, so I think it's a great area to base yourself. And if you're wondering where I actually stay when I visit these days, I actually rent this Airbnb in Venice. I find it just really charming. It's super cute. It is a tiny home, and it is in somebody's backyard, but the hosts are awesome. They have this adorable little pup named Brioche that we absolutely love, but like it really makes you feel like a local. It's in a walkable area of town. It was safe. It just had everything that we were looking for. It's small, but it had a hot tub in the backyard, and just, I don't know, it was kind of an oasis for us. So I'll leave a link down below if you want to check that out. Maybe I'll just make a full video on that. Now let's talk about some food, because the food in Los Angeles is fantastic. I'm just going to give you a couple of my absolute favorites, but if you want all my recommendations, I made a free digital download guide that you can pick up right here by scanning the QR code, also link in the description. So I hope that helps. But the first spot is called Jelena, and if you're from Venice, everybody knows this spot. It is kind of a farm to table concept. Everything is done at such a high level. It is a bit pricey, but just wonderful food, great quality, really tasty, and again, healthy. So it's a wonderful spot. Do make a reservation. Now, if you're looking for great pastries and just quick casual atmosphere, there's a spot called Justa, which is actually a sister restaurant to Jelena. That ownership group just knows what they're doing. Fantastic pastries. Yeah, all kinds of different dishes. They've got a beautiful outdoor patio that is just always filled with locals. It's just a wonderful spot to be, really special. It's got that Venice charm, so I don't think you'll be disappointed going there. Now, if you're looking for a great spot for a special dinner, there's a spot called Simone, and this is a newer spot, a little bit trendier, and it's fantastic. All the dishes are inspired by like Central American cuisine. Wonderful flavors, just loved everything. Beautiful atmosphere as well. I don't think you're going to be disappointed there, but also recognize you don't need to spend up in LA. I know a lot of people like doing the fancy stuff, but we got great street food and a lot of affordable options. So two of my favorites, there's a spot called The Window down in Venice, and oh man, this place is awesome. It is quite literally just a window. Tremendous value. We're talking burgers under $5. They've got a nice little patio area to sit. It's simple, but it is great and just really tasty burgers. Now, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you came to LA and didn't have street tacos. This is my absolute favorite in Venice. And don't feel like you have to go to this specific spot. There's so many wonderful street trucks and street tacos and just all kinds of great street food around LA. So just make sure you try at least one spot. And if you are going to go for street tacos, don't make the mistake of trying to be that macho person to say, yeah, give me the hot stuff. Guys, if you're not used to spice, this stuff is gonna blow your socks off. I made that mistake with my mom, and I basically set her mouth on fire. So sorry, Mom, but yes, just be warned, be prepared for that. Now, if you're looking for a great spot for a cup of coffee, there is a wonderful spot called Hooked. The barista is really what makes the magic happen, right? And this guy is named Nicely. I'll put his Instagram bio so you can follow along just in case he ever moves spots, but just phenomenal. He focuses on just creating one of those community first atmospheres. Respect his rules and he'll respect you. He takes things serious, and I really appreciate that. And one other coffee spot and barista that you should definitely follow is there's a spot called Flow, and the owner is a guy named Gabe. Gabe is an awesome guy. He just opened up his own spot. He used to work at Hooked with Nicely. Both awesome guys. So again, follow both of them, but let's talk about some of those overrated and underrated places that you might want to check out if you're visiting. So the first question you probably have is, hey, Disneyland, do I do it? I'm going to say no. And don't let that deter you. If you're dead set on going to Disney, hey, go and do it. Just recognize Anaheim is definitely a journey. You're going to spend a lot of effort and a lot of money getting down there. So my alternative there is actually Universal in Hollywood. It's not the best park, but it is more unique to LA because, well, they have something called the Backlot Tour, which is a ride there. And I think it's worth going just for that. They literally take you through the backlots of Universal. And I mean, there's just nowhere else on earth that you're going to get that experience, getting to see live sets, see how the movie magic happens. So if that's something that interests you, it's something that to me is a little bit more unique and representative of LA. So I'll say that Disney is a bit overrated and Universal is a bit underrated. Now, most tourists always want to know, hey, what about the Santa Monica Pier? Just recognize that as locals, it's not a spot that we love to go to. Everything is overpriced. Everything's going to be looking to just extract the maximum dollars possible from the tourists. So be careful with your money. Yep, go walk up and down it, but it's not the spot that I'd be looking to hang out. And you also have the Venice Boardwalk over in that area. And this is another spot that I'm going to say this is a little bit overrated. Another spot that is aimed at catering to the tourists. Now, a lot of locals will walk through there because they have to, but just be really careful and intentional about how and where you spend your money down there. Not the best products, and it is a great place for people watching. Now, the one place that is underrated is the stretch of boardwalk between Santa Monica Pier and the Venice Boardwalk. This is beautiful, and I know we touched on this before, but great spot to just take a nice slow stroll, especially on a weekend morning, but really anytime. It's just a beautiful and safe place to walk that I really recommend. I don't think you're going to be disappointed there. Now, another really underrated spot, in my opinion, are the Venice canals, and a lot of people, even folks who live there, don't realize they exist. It's just this really tiny little neighborhood that is built on canals, and the homes are all really unique, and it's just one of those places that is really peaceful to go and walk around and just kind of wonder what it would be like to have that much money. Now, one of my absolute favorite spots in town that is so underrated is this apothecary. And I know you're probably thinking, what the heck is an apothecary? Why are you recommending this place? It's just beautiful. It's a stunning spot. You got to go and experience it. They've got this little outdoor garden in the back that is just so peaceful and is so different than the streets in Venice and in that area of town. It just, I don't know, it's one of those special spots that once you find it, you'll kind of be addicted to it. And they've got wonderful staff and some nice products as well. Another spot that everybody asks about is the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Guys, this one is so overrated. You just don't need to go there. And I know you're probably still going to do it because when in LA or when in Hollywood, you want to do it. But it's just in an area of town where there's really not a whole lot to do except for see the Hollywood Walk of Fame. There are tons of tourist traps in that area and people looking to get money from you. It's just not something that I think you're really going to enjoy. So if you are going to go and do it, hey, by all means, that's fine. Just don't plan a whole day around being in that part of town. And another spot that is definitely underrated is the Griffith Park Observatory. And honestly, this is enjoyed by both locals and tourists. This place is just massive. It is really just a work of art and such a beautiful spot to just go and enjoy the view and hang out. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out of your way to make it there, but if you are going to go to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you're close enough. You might as well go up to the Griffith Park Observatory. But I think the most underrated thing you can do is try to do less. Base yourself in the West Side, preferably Venice, and plan to spend most of your vacation on the beach and walking through Venice and through Santa Monica and exploring those local spots. And then plan to take just a couple of days where you're going to take an Uber or Waymo out to those other spots around town that you might want to. But remember, less is more. You don't need to spend as much money as you would think you do here. So I hope all that makes sense. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and we'll catch you guys next time.